Hey, you found our YouTube channel all queued up. I'm Greg Dietz, and with me always is Maya Don Fisher. Hey, Maya, can you tell the fine folks what we do here?
Sure, Greg. What we do here is we review movies and TV shows that are exclusive to streaming services, such as Disney Plus, HBO Max, Netflix, Amazon's Prime Video, Hulu, and others. Then, Greg and I have a discussion and break down what we liked or didn't like about the show or movie we watched, and we let you, the listener, know if it's worth investing your time in.
You can listen to our fine podcast on any streaming service of your choice. You can listen to our podcast and other fine podcasts on the Nerdvana Network. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Welcome back to the show, Wrestling Junkies. This is episode 7 of the second season. I am your host, and I'm coming to you directly from Under the Apron. Listen, I'm glad you're here listening to me. Over the weekend, I was on another podcast. That's right, your boy did another crossover episode with our fine folks at the Masterpiece Shitpiece Theater, part of the Nirvana network that I'm in. We talked a lot about D23 over the weekend, some TV shows, and we got some wrestling in there as well. The Nerdvana Network, or TNN for short, is a conglomerate of podcasts that promote each other's interests. So give them a listen and a follow at the Linktree, linktree.com/the Nirvana Network. Not only that, but Triple H did an episode with Ariel Hawani, a must-see exclusive interview. I'll have the link to that interview in the show notes just to watch the entirety, but I do have short clips on later. First, let's do some news. And I can't believe this was part of the news this week. Checking Twitter, there's a tweet from the Being the Elite account. For those that don't know, that's the weekly YouTube series from the Elite, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. And they tweeted, "No Being the Elite this week, on hiatus until further notice." Which basically means they're in trouble. Hey, yeah, you know what happened. I talked a little bit about it on the last episode. You'll be able to hear more about it on here in the next segment. But the YouTube series is getting punished because of a CM Punk calling them out. Just like that. As much as I love the guy, he's starting to mess with my form of entertainment. Hey, I like to watch things too on YouTube, okay? So much has changed since he was last in the ring. So, these guys, Bullet Club, Elite, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, they're our guys now. CM Punk is the old man now. Yeah, remember that time when he was calling The Rock out? Now these guys are calling CM Punk out. Everything has changed so far, man. Apparently the entire world has something to say as well. Natalia Natty Neidhart tweeted. Well, it wasn't her tweeting. It was Bob. A tweet goes as follows. "This is Bob. Miss Neidhart hasn't sued anyone in this match, and she's also a locker room leader. For some reason, she was eating a muffin when she dictated this message to me. Bye." She later tweeted, "Hi, Bob. What kind of muffins? Pumpkin spice, I hope. Also, you forgot to mention that tonight's victory for me will be my 651st win. No one can touch me. I'm the best of all time. Hashtag SmackDown. Also, Bob, stay the hell off my Twitter, please. Thanks." Oh, that just... Everybody went in on CM Punk over that. Over the whole... everything. Over the weekend. Over the entire week. I wouldn't doubt it if Bobby Fish did it too. From 411mania.com, former WWE President Eric Bischoff on his 83 Weeks podcast says he would have snatched the mic away from Punk and noted that Tony Khan created these issues backstage, adding that Cody Rhodes leaving AEW was a sign of how bad the problem has gotten. He also compared the situation to Warrior going over his allotted time during his first WCW promo. Goodness, can never forget that Warrior promo. I mean, he even went through a commercial break and he's still talking. The guy talks. Another thing was from WrestlingInc.com. During the edition of The Click, this podcast, Kevin Nash shared a moment he thinks the situation escalated and wasn't just for show anymore. I have a clip of that, and gonna give it to you right now.
Since Punk's already went through this, he's already went through this at another company. So it's not like there's nothing that he,
Well, he's very aware of what he's doing, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact is that it came to blows. So when it comes to blows, now it's not a work anymore.
Well, but couldn't I take you aside and say,
I'm not letting you punch me in the fucking face for
I don't know
for the sake of fake wrestling? Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck that. Let me tell one of the guys in the back, yeah, I'm gonna fucking waffle you with my fucking.
Well, it could have been a pull apart, right? Like, how clean
it
was
wasn't.
it? Do you know anyone that was there?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did they tell you?
I mean, fucking the one guy, Alex Steele, bit fucking Omega. It was a fucking fight. Like, a chair got thrown.
Mm-hmm. I heard all this, but I got no specific details, and I don't know if I was necessarily hearing from people that were there versus internet reporter types. So listen, if you got confirmation, I guess, that this biting and shit, then
and Punk fired the first round
with his mouth out on at the press conference.
He punched one of the Bucks in the back.
So that's okay. So he has the conference. He walks out. He's obviously confronted. The EVP comments, obviously referencing them and Omega, I guess. So they confront him backstage, and he throws the first punch. Yes.
From what I've heard.
Okay. And then everybody just.
I personally was not there.
Right. But you talked to workers that were.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
At least they're telling me that.
So, all right, let's go into business mode here. It happened. It's a shoot. You're Tony Khan. Are there repercussions, or are you thinking about how to turn this into the next pay-per-view?
Well, I mean, I look at it as in my cunning brain, how convenient that the guy that you're going to maybe toss out of your company or maybe wants to leave has your world title.
Yeah.
How's that make you feel? So we're, you got put over. Now you got the bargaining chip, and then you go into business for yourself.
So he can kind of take this and run with it. But I mean, honestly, if Tony Khan wanted to get rid of him because of this, he could just get rid of him, have a tournament for the belt, right?
Shit, Tony Khan's got enough money to fucking get rid of him.
Oh, great. The last thing we need is an old man talking about another old man. But hey, he gets it. We also got some audio from Booker T in his own podcast. Like, everybody is coming out with their podcast. Even the wrestlers. They're like, let's do a podcast, man. So here's what Booker T had to say as well.
If it was a shoot, that's the way he really felt. My thing is this, man. I'm not here to let the fans in on what we got going on personally. I don't. The fans don't need to know if I got a beef with any of these guys in the back. No, I'm serious. That ain't something that I think is professional. Like you said a minute ago, it was definitely not professional. If I got a beef with Hangman Adam Page for saying what he said, I'm gonna deal with it 1-on-1 in the locker room. And if we got to fight about it, we'll fight about it. Whatever we got to do to get it off our chest, we'll do it. If I got a problem with the Young Bucks, I'm going to tell those guys to their face. I'm not going to. It's not something for the world to really know, unless you just want them to know it. Unless you just want the fans to know, hey man, I don't, I don't like these guys. Okay, why do they have to know that? I don't know. Maybe to create more of an image to where, it gets more heat going between us when we're working. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the thought process anyway. But for business purposes and business purposes only, it's just like I got a worker. Just say, for instance, if I had the Undertaker and he was working a day, and he was on my television, and then next thing you know, he wanted to go on Twitch, and go outside of the boundaries of what we're trying to do with him on television. It will be a problem. And in this situation right here, going into a situation like this, creating something like this, if it's real, it will be a problem.
I mean, but I feel like there's no benefit of it not being, of it being a work, in my opinion, right? I mean, I know it's wrestling.
A lot of people think that. A lot of people say, man, this is a work, man.
Half of our chat right now says it's a work. Half of it says it's not a work.
I mean, so I've heard so many people say that, but I'm speaking like literally from a promoter a worker standpoint that has been doing this for quite some time. And I do know AEW has changed the game a little bit as far as the way fans are to look at, wrestling, and I get it. I get it. Maybe this is part of it. I have no idea, but I do know, watching the show, you could tell, certain guys don't really, actually get along with each other.
How about we take a look at something that was said in the post-fight press conference? You said guys who don't really like one another. Again, a lot of this stemmed from the issues with Hangman Adam Page when he was the world champion, and CM Punk. Hey, that seems like a step over the line.
Hey man, if the guys in the locker room, listen to it and deciphered it the way I would have deciphered it if I was one of those guys in the locker room, he'll be fighting every time he walked through the locker room.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, I'm walking down the hallway. Every time he came through the hallway, he'd be in a fight. Every time I saw him, he'd be in a fight. It would be no way we could coexist together. If I was the top guy in that company, we would have to have a fight. I'm just saying. Literally. I'm serious. I don't know why. That's just the nature of the beast.
But what specifically did he say that you would have taken?
Well, if it's real, because it's a thing in the business, with a guy, the top guy, draw a house, and we always would go, hey man, thanks for the house, man. But it was a thing out of respect. The guy that was at the top of the card, he never came up to us and said, hey man, I drew the house tonight. Y'all can thank me.
So and CM Punk said the first $1 million gate off of my back.
Exactly. And those guys been there working their asses off. They've been working their asses off. And then to have to hear that, I would take liberty. Oh man, I really would. Because there again, it's not something that the fans need to be as far as real feelings like that. Because if that's the way you really feel, man, we would really have a problem if that's the way you really felt. Now, if it's an angle, everything's wide open. You know what I mean? But if it's not, like I say, we would have a problem. I know, if I felt like that with any of my peers, I've never felt like that with any of my peers that I've ever had to work with. Where I thought, man, I want to fight the guy. I saw Bobby Fish called him out to a fight. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I'm sure Bobby Fish called him out to a fight after hearing words like that, because Bobby Fish is a guy who said, man, I can fight. I can protect, but you want to fight? I'll fight you. So, in essence, those are fighting words. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Those
1,000%.
that's what I mean. No diss to CM Punk or anything like that, but I know I would want to fight him. I'm serious. Just because, you took it there, and I didn't think it need to be taken there, because there again, you're someone in a leadership perspective, but when you're in a leadership position, you got to act like it. Some things you just got to let blow over. Some things you just got to let go over your head. Some things you, like I say, you got to pull the person aside and say, hey man, let me talk to you for a second. Hey man, do you really think I feel that way? You know what I mean? And really get into the person's head, just like I did with those guys in TNA. I didn't want those guys to think I was coming in there big shotting them because I was Booker T. And you could ask each and every one of them. AJ Styles is one of my guys. He's like one of my students. I look at him as, because I knew I was there to help try to teach him something. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ask AJ, he'll tell you what I taught him more than anything, but I'm sure, I could have went in there and big shot at all those guys, but I wouldn't have gained anything from that. And we wouldn't have even had a chance to win by having that kind of attitude. Some things you got to be able to say, man, I'm bigger than that. Just like you say, he lowered himself to, Hangman's level. I say with young people, sometimes you got to be able to go down to their level in order to be able to bring them up to your level.
Hey guys, this is Ernie. We're going to get to the next segment in a few, but let me tell you about Dark Fate Creations, okay? Dark Fate Creations would like to invite you to a new and unique experience in candles and wax melts. They hand pour and create every single product using quality, clean, and safe ingredients. Their candles are filled with romantic wooden wicks and made with a coconut soy blend of waxes for a safer, cleaner, and longer burn. The designs are unique and beautiful, but more importantly, they smell absolutely amazing. And the variety of fragrances have something for everyone. Hand poured in Grass Valley, California. Check them out at darkfatecreations.com. Link of the site in the show notes below. I'm going to have the link to the full interview of Ariel Helwani interviewing Triple H about his heart condition, the way he felt about WrestleMania and NXT. But there were a few questions that he had asked that I want to share here. Ariel asked Tripp if he considers AEW competition, and this is what he had to say.
Maybe a second option, if you will, for the first time in a very long time. Do you pay attention to what they're doing? Do you consider them competition? I remember asking Nick Khan himself this very question last August, and he said, no, everything is competition. Entertainment is competition. So I'm just curious, for you, do you consider them specifically as competition?
Again, not, and it's funny, I've heard Nick say that, and I've heard people say to him, well, it's a cop-out answer. It's not a cop-out. Everything is competition to us. If we pay attention to everything, you have to. Do we pay attention to AEW? Do I watch it on a week-to-week basis? No. Am I aware of what's happening there? To a degree, right? I'm not following everything they do. There's sometimes I'll see that somebody would say, well, this is very similar to what they do. I'm like, I had no idea. Yeah. At the end of the day, you have to focus on what you're doing, right? You have to focus on your product. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. If people want to watch that product, there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing that's going to prevent me from doing that, right? Focus on my product, make my product the best product it can possibly be, and I have confidence in that ability. For this team, for the amount of people, for the talent that we have, I'll put our talent against anybody. That is how you are successful. Monday Night Football is a massive thing for us. We pay attention to that. Absolutely. We pay attention to all sports that are on television. We're very strategic about where we put our events and how, not because we think, we'll try to block that, or we think we'll do this. No, we're going to put them in the places where we think we will do the best business. That's all that it is. There's nothing more to it than that. And I think that is where people get lost in the small thinking of what happens on a day-to-day basis. It's the much bigger overall picture that is needs to stay in front of you of where you're trying to get to.
And then Ariel asked Triple H about what happened with the Wednesday Night Wars, and hey, what happened? You guys got beat by AEW. What's going on there, man? And Triple H said, they beat our developmental system? Nah, come on. Don't say what? You're a billion-dollar company. Come on. You can't have a developmental system. It's like you guys have money there. You just got beat by AEW. But here's what he had to say also.
So just curious, there was that story, and that's why I appreciate you being here and maybe putting to rest some theories out there. NXT went head-to-head with AEW. It couldn't beat them. We're going to punish it. Was that a real thing?
No.
Nonsense.
No, look, we do. People put so much pressure on all this competitive wars. It never was that. Look, first of all, they beat our developmental system. Good for them, right? No, it was never that. It was never. There was never even a pressure of you have to beat that. It was never that. It's put on the best product we could. Like I said, it shifted over time. During the pandemic, all of that shifted over time, and the opportunity for us to change it back to what it truly was, right? When you look at a lot of the stars that have come through that system, that had either started from zero or very little exposure anywhere and then became massive stars with us. God, it's so many people. And we had lost the ability to take those people and groom them from the ground up. We really had. And it's the biggest change that's out there. I'm proud of where Sean and that team have taken that, even under circumstances where the change happened and was massive and all at once, and they sort of kind of got this jumble thrown at them and had to go out there and take that and run with it. The job they've done is amazing. And now I think you're starting to see people begin to, they got a clean slate, and all these athletes you'd never heard of and never seen before, and they're green and don't know what they're doing, and they're out there doing this. You're seeing it now start to pick up tempo again and start to become what it is again. I truly believe in that brand still. I think you'll see that here as well. Like the decision to pull NXT UK back, it's the right decision for us. We had plans to do what we're going to do now, then, right before the pandemic hit, and it took it all away. So we weren't able to do that. Our partnership with BT allowed it to stay on the air the whole time. But the truth is, it was totally different from where we wanted it to go. We're pulling it off the air now so that we can get to Europe. It's tough to do both at the exact same time, to continue to operate a product but build a new product around it. We're going to pull it off for a little bit. We're going to bring NXT Europe back in a bigger way than it ever was before. And the intent is, hopefully, if we're successful at it, to replicate that. So it's NXT Europe, it's NXT India, it's NXT South Africa, it's NXT Mexico. Be able to take those products, put them around everywhere, and eventually over time to build brands in those markets locally and build World Cup scenarios around that where, they're competing on that level all over the globe, and that tide then feeds into Raw and SmackDown. It's in essence, if Raw and SmackDown are the NFL, NXT at all levels is collegiate football. It's amazing football. It's just, in some ways same as the NFL. Some people like it better. It becomes that, but it's all a feeder system to the overall picture.
And finally, the last story of the night before we move on to the crossover episode. Hall of Famer Mickie James made a huge announcement on Impact. And here's what she had to say. It's been a while since I last seen Impact, so it was kind of like I was trying to get familiar with it. And, well, since last year, I guess. But here it is. Here's what she's been going with.
But I also remember saying to myself, if there ever comes a point that you don't belong and you can't hang with the women back there, then you don't belong. And I certainly never wanted to go out as a shell of my former self. And I only want to be what you have always believed in me to be, and that is the greatest that's ever been. So the fact is, it's like, I just don't know if I can do that. And that's what I gotta find out. I'm not retiring, not tonight, not like this, not right now. But I am gonna test myself in the quest to be the best. So no, I'm not asking for a Knockouts World Championship. I want to earn it, and I want to earn it the same way I have earned everything I have in my entire life, and that is with dirt in my eyes and grit in my teeth. So I'm going to challenge, an open challenge to every single woman from the bottom of the roster all the way to the top of the mountain, and whoever is holding that Knockouts Championship at the end, know that I am coming for you. But there's a catch, there's a catch. There is a catch, because there has to be a catch. If I lose in this journey, you're not gonna lose. Or if I lose that shot out the Knockouts Championship, that's it. That's it. This is the last rodeo. And I want you to take this journey with me. And I can't promise that it's gonna be a long ride. I can't promise that it's gonna be a short ride, but one thing I can promise is it's gonna be a hell of a ride. And it's gonna end one of two ways. And that's me as Knockouts World Champion, or me going home for good.
Mickie James setting an enormous standard for herself. She is back here at Impact Wrestling. It's the last rodeo for hardcore country.
She forgot to say that she made history by being in the Royal Rumble back in January and coming out to her own theme music and the Impact Wrestling's Knockouts Championship. So there was that also. She's not retiring, I guess, but she's doing that whole storyline where, like, she starts from the bottom all the way to the top, and if she ever gets pinned, she'll retire. But if she doesn't, she'll go move on to the women's world. Then Impact Wrestling Knockout Championship, Women's Championship will either be defeated there or win that match, and then move on as the best. But Kurt Angle did it also, where he was undefeated throughout that entire run up until he went up against the world champion. Is that right? I forgot all about that. But I know that Kurt Angle did that storyline also. And hopefully Mickie James gets to the end of the line, the final boss, the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Championship, wins it, and then that whole scenario is scratched and burned, and she can lose whenever she wants. But yeah, she's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Her debut against Trish Stratus at WrestleMania and all that stuff, she was one of the best out there, and she still is. So yeah.
Hello, I'm Andy Martinez, host of Ride With Me, the Flat Tire podcast. I was given the idea from an uncle to start a podcast about the events that have occurred in my life. I was born into a negative environment and grew up being a shitty person. During my early 20s, I hooked up with an individual that was just as negative as my upbringing, that I thought it was normal, until it wasn't. In my mid-20s, karma came knocking on my door, and I started losing everything: my apartment, my car, my license, my freedom, and even almost my life. Depression hit hard. It wasn't until my kids were born that I realized that I had a purpose to live. So in 2010, I eliminated any and all negative people, baby's mama, friends, and even family. I was told that I beat the odds, so I share my stories to give hope to people that they too can beat the odds. Now I ride with friends, get it, ride with me, and share their stories on how they turned a negative situation into a positive to live better lives. Thank you.
Okay, crossover time. Over the weekend, I was on the MPSP Theater show, and I always have fun going there. We talked a lot about pop. We talked a lot about pop culture. We discussed the happenings of Disney's convention D23, which are putting out trailers for Marvel and the movies all weekend. But mostly we talked about the situation with CM Punk and the state of wrestling, and this is how it went.
You ain't gonna win no more, bitch.
Yo, speaking about wars, there was a war last Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday night at the AEW fucking press event?
Here we go.
Man,
I'm gonna talk like this for the entire night. Let's go.
Well,
we got to say about him.
They're best in the world. There he is.
Yeah.
I don't care what happened.
So like
okay.
Go ahead, Russ.
Well, all I know is all I've been reading is a bunch of spot pieces that are like where they have part of the story. I don't think anybody has come up with the entire story yet. You know.
Yeah.
So you're trying to piece it together, and you don't know exactly what's true and what's not.
Yeah.
But all I know is that somebody got bit. Somebody got a chair thrown at them. It was a real fight. This wasn't no wrestling show.
Yeah.
This was after the show, back in the locker rooms with no cameras around. So it was like no, this was the
nobody
real
knows
deal.
what happened. Nobody can figure it out. All they know is that Kenny Omega went to grab a dog and he didn't get bit by the dog.
Yeah.
You got bit by a human in the process.
Right. How you grab a dog and get bit by a man? What the fuck is going on?
You didn't get bit by a dog. You got bit by someone.
Right?
Agent.
That is some shit, dude. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
How long before the first super kick was thrown?
It was a party.
What's up, Walt? Baby? Yo.
Hey,
so what happened was CM Punk decided I think he got fed the question. I think this was planned.
No, it wasn't fed the question.
You don't think so?
He asked this guy. It started off with he asking this guy, like, what the fuck was it? Who have you worked with? Because this guy that was asking the question was saying that he worked in comedy before, and he worked with Scott Colton, which is AAA fucking Colt Cabana. Fucking
right.
Oh, it's like, oh, you work with Colt Cabana. Let me tell you something about Colt Cabana. He just fucking went off on Colt Cabana. I was like, dude, he just said that he worked with him. He didn't fucking ask questions about him. But hey, now that we're talking about Colt Cabana, fuck the guy, fuck his mom. We sued her too. And fuck everybody. He just did all that shit. I'm just like, damn.
It was weird.
Buried the fuck out of. Yeah,
it felt like it was a blind rage that came out of nowhere, dude. It was really weird. And I was like, "What the fuck? What? I don't know. I know Colt Cabana has pissed a lot of people off. I know he has. Everybody here, of course, he has, right? But it was weird because it seemed like you said, I don't think anyone like that dude wasn't like trying to get you to go walk away. It was weird.
What it was I think in a promo, Hangman said that CM Punk got Colt Cabana fired from AEW.
Okay. Yeah, and that. Okay.
And I guess that wasn't cleared with Punk. So Punk has a problem with that.
So Punk went ahead the next when he came back the next few weeks and said, I want to challenge Hangman Page, even though he wasn't there at the time. He didn't show up until later. Knowing he didn't show up, it's like, if you're going to go in business for yourself, I'm going to do it also. And say, fuck you, Hangman Page. It's like, I'm challenging Hangman Page. Where is he? He's not here. Oh, too bad.
Right. And Hangman Page, by the way, got pissed that Punk did that. him because he was like, he went into business and I wasn't even there. At least wait till I'm there.
Yeah.
Don't talk shit, you know. and so it's weird because the lines of reality and real life are getting blurred, and fake reality, real life, and fantasy are getting kind of.
So that was brought up at the presser too.
Then we got the 3 EVPs that don't know how to run shit like a Target. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, so talking about Omega and the Bucks.
Okay, so apparently it was the Bucks that went in to talk to him, right? Initially.
That's it happened in Punk's locker room, right?
It happened
Right.
during
What I heard.
It happened during the next press conference, which was the tag team,
Right.
Keith Lee and Swerve. While that was happening, you see a security guard run towards over there and stop the fight.
Yeah.
But they didn't show it on the big screen; they showed it on the other screen. So while that was happening, fucking the Bucks and Omega went into the locker room, and one side says that Punk threw the first punch, sucker punched him.
Yeah.
The road agent threw a fucking chair at Nick. Larry the dog is barking. Kenny Omega goes to fucking pick up Larry the dog, like, "Hey, you're a little baby. Come here. Let me hold you.
Yeah.
Let me pick you up and put you somewhere else." The road agent bites Kenny Omega.
It pulls his hair.
Hangman
Like
Page
before he
comes in
threw
there.
a punch.
Like a bunch of people come in there. Christopher Daniels, some guy named Buck, and a few other people come in there. But they all get suspended. They didn't do anything wrong. They all got suspended.
Yeah.
And then the Trios Championship get lost. The Heavyweight Championship is vacant.
They're doing a
supposedly Punk has a torn bicep and needs surgery now.
They wants to sue now. It's like, Jesus, man.
Well, and then I heard that Punk asked for his release, and that basically Khan said, "Fuck off, you're not going nowhere." So I don't know.
And then the dirt sheets were started reporting that the Bucks sent out feelers to WWE.
Now that's crazy.
Can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah, I just got me wondering is how close are the Bucks to their expiration of their contract? That's really got me wondering about that.
But like the thing was that we also forgot to say is Ace Steel was the road agent who was one of CM Punk's trainers. He also threw a fucking chair at Matt Jackson and hit him in the face.
Yes. Not like the fake, not like the I don't want to say fake, but like not like the controlled hits with chairs you see them do in the ring. He literally flew the fucking chair in like legitimately real life. Like if you in real
Jesus Christ, man.
like if you in real life was going to throw a chair at someone to hurt them, this is the way this guy threw the chair.
He threw the chair like Sabu throws a chair.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, this is ECW all over again. Cool. Let's go.
Right. With this shit spins like a frisbee. Like a throwing star.
Yeah, I mean that's a point, man. Because like Punk, is in that power structure. So like, if he buries his bosses, they have a right to ask what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, during that whole mess, like a bunch of old clips came out when Triple H was talking to him, and all the stuff. And then you had a conversation between Chris Jericho and Cody Rhodes telling about how CM Punk called himself the locker room leader back then, and they started laughing. It's like, no, you're not.
Well, back in the day, you remember that storyline when he was still in the WWE, where him and Triple H were at war with each other when Triple H was the boss in charge, and CM Punk wanted to fight him. It kept trying to, and well, apparently in real they were having real heat backstage, real deal heat backstage.
You always had heat backstage.
You know what was funny about it though was Triple H was the one who was actually trying to keep even fighting for CM Punk. They trying to help him get what he wants. Keep Vince McMahon away from him. That kind of shit, and it's weird. It's like Punk can't even handle when people are trying to help him. He's like
to me, like lightning struck with the summer of Punk.
Yeah,
I don't think you're ever gonna see that height again.
Ever? Which one? The first one? Because I was waiting for
I'm-
Summer Punk 2022, and
Yeah.
I got hurt
look,
my ankle.
He made that return. He came back to a crazy ovation. It
One
was
person
insane.
cried.
And it looked fun. It looked really cool. Even I was like, oh wow.
One guy cried.
Yeah.
But like you said, though, Nick, the first time we saw him have
As
a
soon
match,
as he stepped in the ring,
I felt like he did not look like he was ready. He didn't look. I mean, you could see there were matches that were sloppy. There was a lot of stuff that was like. Now, CM Punk fans were like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with him. He's fine. Look at that's all. That's all meant to look like that." Sure, wink, wink. Yeah, his opponents were making him look good.
Pretty much.
He had matches against guys that were helping him out. Man, they were helping him out.
As
and they were helping him.
CM Punk Stan, I agree with you.
Yeah.
They were, and look, I'm not trying to dog him out. Look, CM Punk's badass. I like him too, but he's the one that makes me go, oh shit, what's he gonna say now? You know,
but like,
like I was ready for a third CM Punk versus MJF match, and then this shit happened. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, see, I was hoping that was gonna happen too, because I like
the way
MJF a
MJF
lot
came
too.
out. I was just like, damn, who didn't know it was him?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and you know, and I don't know, man. Yeah,
Like-
what did he say? He's wasted up. So it's when he said.
I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure. Does I mean, is he your
maybe
kind of wasted up?
maybe his H.
no,
key
like
fell
I
off the
think,
keyboard.
like at some point, I think you have to weigh like, is he worth the fucking headache compared to what you're paying him and what he brings? Because he does bring in a crowd.
Mhm. He does. I mean, you're guaranteed you're going to sell in Chicago for sure. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and other places too. I mean, he's like,
But like,
I don't know, man.
it could,
Controversy.
or it could be like if they get rid of him, it could be like one of those igniting moments.
It would make me go, wow. They either made the best move of their company's life, or they made the worst move of the company's life. I don't know which it is, but you know,
Yeah, it's tough because, like, especially for them, like doing something like that, like releasing someone who has that much of a name, like it could be almost like a flex. 'Cause like we don't need them. Like we have enough.
True.
We have enough in our own stock and our own like stable of people. But then it could all like you said, be an igniting event. People would be like, well, "Fuck, I'm not gonna watch it anymore." Because
Either that, or they're like, "Oh fuck, they fucking had Punk and they let him go," and you know, the locker room gets fucking fired up and bang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, you're gonna be right. I mean,
yeah, like
here's what I want to know: if they did release Punk, okay, where does he is he just done in pro wrestling, or does he?
Yeah.
Do you think he would? I mean, because there's no other big real. I mean, Impact, New Japan.
No.
I mean, New Japan. You got to work in New Japan, though, dude. You got to work.
Yeah,
I
don't think he could keep up.
I don't think he can either. I don't. They're hardcore in New Japan. I mean, it's not. Maybe
Will Ospreay would work circles around him at this point.
I think. Yeah. I think it's tough. It's tough. I don't know that he's in. I don't know that he's at a point.
He definitely can't go back and
where he
fight because that
No.
didn't fucking work for him. Man.
Well, come on, Sam. That worked out so well the first time, didn't it?
And like that was the first real mistake he made. Like that killed his mystique.
He was the only. I can't speak to like all the Japanese guys that probably did this in pride, but like he was the only wrestler that came from WWE to UFC that didn't also have a like an amateur wrestling background.
Right.
Like Brock did it, was super
Yeah.
successful, was a champ. Bobby Lashley did it, won some fights.
Jake Hager.
Hager's done it. Yep.
And it's like
true.
Chris Benoit could have done it. He could have been one of those guys, you know, like if shit didn't happen the way it did. But yeah, he was the one that did it, and that's where like people, because I was like, okay, for everyone who like talks about Brock and like, yeah, you can come from WWE and do this, like watch what happens with CM Punk.
Dude, could you imagine if in 1996 Kurt Angle went to the UFC instead of the fucking WWE?
Yeah, man, and it's like if there was any money there, like which there just wasn't in 1996, you know, like he would have been really good. He would have been really good and had a great career, I'm sure.
He had the wrestling
in 2013. I'm gonna say.
Is that
right?
Yeah,
2014, around there, because
something like that. He was gone for 8 years, right? He was gone
Yeah.
for 8 years before he came back.
Yeah.
At
He
the
came
same
back
time
in
the WWE
2021,
Network
so-
started.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, because that sounds about right. That
sorry.
sounds about right. About 2013.
Yeah, that's what they're answering.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Like I think at this like I hate to dump on the guy because I was such a huge fan of his work in WWE.
Yeah.
You know, but like at this point, like if I'm a wrestling company,
I don't want
and I'm looking at him, and even I'm looking at him that I don't want him, and then I'm also looking at the fact that if I do want him, I can't put a belt on this guy.
His ego will grow. Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't know if you're gonna end up having to fucking pull it.
And now that
Yeah.
Triple H is running things, now it's
Yeah.
like, if he shows up back there, it's like, would he want him? Like, do I?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but see,
put
that's
my
just
stake
it.
on the guy?
Like,
Yo, it
since
might
it's
be
Triple H,
worth. It might
This is
be
Triple
worth
H
it if he
running.
comes back and Triple H gives him Moppy.
Wow.
I mean, well, my thing is Triple H is not. Triple H is that guy who he won't say no to anything. I mean, I almost think he'll think anything through. And like I could see, I don't know that he would sign him long term though. I could see him signing and do a short term deal, and
Legend
saying, "Yeah, we're gonna have a
contract.
little quick, yeah."
Well,
maybe
I'll
he has
give
a
you the
couple
WrestleMania
matches.
main event against Roman Reigns.
Yeah, throw
just so you
him
lose.
in against throw him in against Roman Reigns. Have Roman Reigns beat his ass. I mean, someone else for Roman to beat up on. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure.
Right before the match, tell him, "Hey, Punk, whatever you do, just make him look good."
Right.
Like I could
know.
see, like I could see how they could like hot shot it and make it
Right.
really good though. Like right now, you go and you fucking all right. So Punk is out for 8 months at least.
Is that from the injury as well?
That's that's
I don't
what
know
they're
this-
reporting.
I haven't heard anything about
Between the bicep and the leg.
Okay, 'cause I haven't heard anything about how long the suspension.
That's what Meltzer said is 8 months is Punk is on the shelf.
As long as he doesn't do another roundhouse kick, and Bobby Fish would just
Yeah.
roast him again.
Yeah.
Crazy as shit to me, dude. Unreal, man.
So 8 months. AEW releases him 8 months. He comes back to WWE. Who do you have him go up on?
That's May.
I mean, I think
That's
it'll be
May,
it'll have
so
to
that's
be-
Money in the Bank,
Ah,
ain't it?
yeah.
April's Mania, May's Money in the Bank, right?
I don't want him fucking winning the fucking briefcase.
Money in
Yeah,
the
I-
Bank.
Cashes in a SummerSlam.
Well, you could just
and
have him. You
Summer
could
of
just have
Punk.
him.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
could just
man,
have him do the main
2.0.
event match. I mean, just have him title defense and Money in
Roman.
the Bank. Yeah.
Or
What you
wait,
do is you
against Austin Theory.
have him walk out at the end of WrestleMania. He doesn't have a match or none, just walks out at the end of WrestleMania, makes a surprise appearance at WrestleMania, and you don't gotta do nothing, just show up there and watch the world go, holy shit.
The same way they did with
Or-
Cody Rhodes.
Or like, do you go and fucking have him walk out at WrestleMania with fucking Triple H and Stephanie in a suit and have him
Oh, that'd be cool.
and have him bust whoever the baby face is in the head?
Phil Brooks, huh?
Yeah.
Not bad. I mean, that's interesting. Again, this is the kind of thing I'm saying. Triple H is the kind of guy, unlike Vince McMahon, who is like,
Yeah.
I could see Triple H doing some shit like
But
that. I really
AJ
could.
Styles said he has no interest in ever touching
No.
gloves with Punk.
AJ
Well,
Styles too good for that.
I mean, AJ Styles is such a class act, dude. He's ready to retire anyway soon himself, and I think he's given a lot to the wrestling business. He doesn't have to, if he don't want to go with it.
No, put him
Yeah.
down in NXT 2.0. Fuck all that. Put him down in NXT
Who
2.0.
CM Punk or AJ
Punk.
Styles?
Yeah, Punk.
Oh, Punk.
Yeah.
Like here's Braun Breaker. Make him look
Yeah.
strong.
The only scary thing is I just wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that influence around the younger wrestlers.
Oh my god.
They're not there. I'd be a little concerned about his locker room presence.
I was thinking about Raw. You could have him there's some good matchups for him on Raw. People that could make him look really good.
Dominic.
Johnny Gargano.
What about him and Matt Riddle?
Johnny Wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, Gargano would.
Ciampa, dude.
Ciampa
would be amazing. Yeah. That would be
Dexter
amazing.
Loomis.
Dexter Loomis.
Yeah, you have guys that you would have to have him pull off wins against somehow to build him up a little bit. To have him go up, he'd have to have a couple
man. I
matches.
think you put Punk as the face in that situation.
Put him up against all Triple H's
And
wrestlers from the Black and Gold, and have Punk run through them all, except for one, Seth Rollins. That's when Seth Rollins versus CM Punk WrestleMania.
All right, I can see that.
That would be a fucking interesting match. Actually, I would. I don't know. I'd like to see him and Matt Riddle go, but I like Matt Riddle live. I just think their styles would be interesting to see him match up. But
there's another huge match that they could do, especially with how good he is, and he just turned it on this past Raw. That I would love to see at Mania.
Which one?
KO Punk.
Oh God,
Mania.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
King of the Indies.
Actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it, man.
With El Generico, special guest referee.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny. I don't know, man. We're fantasy booking like a motherfucker. I love it.
I don't care. I do this on my show.
Yeah.
Fantasy book.
But
what do you guys want? Punk is a bitch, of course.
Yeah, he is a bitch, but it's okay. I mean, I want him. I don't mind him. I don't mind him being a bitch. I just want to know what he could be used for in pro wrestling. And I think he still has a big name. Like, he's a big draw. So I think you would still have the ability to utilize him. I just wouldn't utilize him long term. That's all. I wouldn't utilize. It'd be a short, quick in, quick out. It's kind of what they do with Goldberg periodically.
I miss him too.
And these guys,
What, Goldberg? Is that what you said?
They bring Goldberg in for something real quick and then get him the fuck out of there because he's bad.
I think
get one match.
I think a more apt thing would be like Brock.
Maybe that too. Yeah, but yeah, I'm just saying. I don't mean to compare him to Goldberg. Come on.
Yeah.
Goldberg's really over the hill. Goldberg's over the hill and down that motherfucker on the other side.
I'm waiting for that Goldberg versus Riddle fight to happen.
He's over the hill and through the woods, man.
Hell yeah. Dude, I'm sorry. That match he had when they were overseas at the Crown Jewel.
Undertaker?
That was one of the. It was Undertaker. It was Goldberg, and it was so bad. It was so
all
bad.
His matches. What are you talking about? All his matches.
No. That one was worse than anything. He was so tired. He couldn't even get him. He just couldn't do anything anymore. And it's like, dude, if you can't do it, don't do it. Because you don't want to drop someone on their feet.
Fine when you do it to other guys, but don't do it to the Undertaker. You gotta protect that guy.
Yeah, really, exactly. And even Taker was just even Taker looked sloppy in that match. And I was like, God damn, dude, what's going on here? He was hurt. Yeah, he did.
In their prime, they would have gone fast. In their prime, they would have been back and forth. But now just he's going for a spear, and he hits it 10 seconds later.
And now Goldberg apparently can't do a match without getting hurt anyway. So it's
or without bleeding from the firework going on his head.
Absolutely.
Fucking goiter. He's got a goiter on his forehead.
You're looking and you're going, that dude got busted up before he even started the match. God damn. What happened? Who punched him in the face with a chair?
But the thing for me is I haven't enjoyed Raw for a while.
Me neither.
But then this past week I thought was a decent episode.
Yeah.
I've started getting back into Raw a little bit. It's gotten better, but it hasn't. It's still nowhere near what it was at one time. but they're getting better. They're getting better. It's getting back up there. It's just,
Bless you.
He's trying. He's trying. I think Triple H is really trying to just have good matches, and he's trying to get some good storyline.
We're normalizing getting their names back again. Austin Theory.
Yeah.
And look, I love the women's wrestling, but sometimes I think they try to focus on it too much.
Yeah, I thought that was a huge mistake. Ending Raw with that women's tag match.
I do too. I don't think they should have done. And I think I feel like I don't mind giving it its attention. It should get its attention. I grab,
but then the next week was fucking Miz and Lashley in a cage,
which was cool. I liked it. That was kind of fun. Dexter Loomis is a creepy bastard. I love him.
Yeah, man. Dude, I love Ciampa. Like.
I do too. Like I love Ciampa. I love again Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling.
He's like,
dude. I love the Miz.
Concentrate. The Miz is doing some of his best work he's ever done right now. Just acting all
but like we say that about the Miz.
Yeah,
like,
every year.
Every year
we do because he surpasses and he evolves, he adapts. And everybody is just like, oh, okay, cool. But the Miz,
think about this, guys.
I can't wait for him to be Intercontinental Champion again, so he can just fucking raise it up again.
Over the last I'd say at least the last 4 or 5 years, he's been the most consistent wrestler as far as whatever he does it well. He does it great. The most consistent wrestler. One injury, and the other times he's missed work, because he's got other shit going on now. He's got to do his show or, his crazy reality show, the Miz and Mrs. or whatever, or he's dancing with the stars or shit like that.
Yeah,
he is.
But they asked. Hold on 1 second. They asked AJ recently in an interview, and AJ said that he doesn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah. I mean, it's
in 2022. No, we're good.
Yeah.
Like in 2004, when they were both rookies, it was like, we could have done. We went toe to toe on all that shit. But now he has a fucking ego and shit. It's like, nah, dude, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that,
AJ
Russ.
Styles. No, sorry. AJ Styles, let's be honest, he's done it. He's earned his stripes. He can say that. I think he's earned his stripes to say, I don't want to work with that guy, and that's it. I wouldn't question him at all. I'll say, hey, if you don't want to work with him, you don't want to work with him. Forget it. We'll get someone else to do it. He's got to have that respect. He's done his business. He's done everything. That dude's been around for a while, man. He's been everywhere.
He was in the last episode of WCW. So he's been around since 2000.
Yeah,
he's been around for 20 plus years, basically.
He gets respect. I mean,
he's obviously, because I don't count him as a WCW project. He is the best TNA project of all time.
He was the one who he's probably he's probably the best product that they ever were heavily responsible for.
Right.
To come out of that.
He was putting on the best matches for that company when they were in the best position that they had, being on national TV on Mondays and then Thursdays.
I completely agree.
Pretty much, yeah.
At the height of that.
Yeah.
When they were still had a lot of these old school legends still involved with their with them, because those are guys. There a lot of people that didn't want nothing to do with the WWE or WWF at the time.
Yeah.
And then post WCW, they're there, and he was one of those young guys who came in and he tore it up.
And then
I liked him. And he was
Aces
good,
and Eight happened.
Yeah, Aces and Eight. Fucking God.
Jesus
Christ.
I never even fucking. Happened. What was that stupid storyline they did when Hulk Hogan was supposed to be running shit and Bubba Ray Dudley was banging? I don't know.
It was me, Hogan. It was me all along.
Yeah.
Fucking. I don't know if that was the end or fucking Joker Sting was.
Oh God.
Joker Sting. God.
Oh.
Shit,
we don't want to.
Oh man, God, TNA.
God damn.
TNA.
All right, let's bring this shit back up. Another thing that they showed for the Marvel D23 thing was Werewolf by Night.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
I saw the trailer. I did see the trailer for that.
This looks incredible, man.
Can we?
That is
are we gonna have
not
Mephisto in
something.
this or no? Are we gonna have Mephisto in this or no?
I don't know, but I watched it with captions on.
Yeah.
So the dude in the coffin is Ulysses Bloodstone.
Wow. Okay.
Nice,
So,
man.
Yeah. He's the father of the Bloodstone clan, which has like they hunt monsters and shit, and they have a lot to do with the Darkhold, which was a huge thing in Wanda.
Well, there you have it, guys. Everything you need to know. 30 plus minutes of that of us just talking our shit. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to the show and supporting us. You can find us all other sort of platforms. First, with the Nerdvana Network, or TNN for short, which is a conglomerate of podcasts that promote each other's common interests, so give them a follow as well. Check out the Linktree at linktree.com/the Nerdvana Network for more information on that. Follow us on Twitter at apron_stories. Follow me on Twitter at MinutGeek. Listen to us on Spotify or Anchor.fm. Totally free at From Under the Apron. Check us out on YouTube and smash that subscribe button. And follow us on Instagram for more wrestling content. Send us a message of your favorite wrestling stories, either by email. It is FromUnderTheApron@gmail.com. Or click on the link if you want to leave us a voice message. Doesn't matter if you're trolling or want to promote your business. We will still air it. Check out the show notes on Spotify. You will find a link to the Nerdvana Network and links to other podcast trailers that you heard, plus all the videos of the situation that you have heard earlier. They will be up on the show notes. You have a right to hear us, but if you want to support us or our cause and send us money so we can buy better equipment, go ahead and click that second link. It will ask you if you want to donate money once a month. Charges range from 99 cents to $4.99 to $9.99. Once we figure out what to do with these three and learn how to make shirts and figures, you guys will be the first to know. But so far, I have 2 backers apparently. Awesome. As soon as I post this podcast and the podcast goes up on Spotify, my thing will be that I will contact them. I will email them and tell them that the episode is up. So those 2 people are the first to know that my podcast is up as soon as that happens. So basically, I'm giving them extra knowledge of what's going on and all that stuff. Hey, they're backers. I'm gonna give them what they're backing up. Okay, is that what you? What is that? How do you say it? I don't know. This is my first time saying that. Okay. That's about it. Tune in next week and find out what kind of stories are hiding and swept as we broadcast from Under the Apron.